You're farming. You need to make more money. Should I get more land? Should I lease more land? It always seems to involve more land. But maybe that's not the question you should be asking, and maybe you should be asking how much of your farm is currently growing something right now? Not how much land do you have, how many beds are built, but how many of those beds that you have are in production, earning revenue right now. For most small farms, the honest answer is probably not all of them. Many are sitting empty. They're between harvests. They're waiting on a planting. They're resting because it didn't make the schedule or you just messed it up. An empty bed isn't resting. It's costing you money. When you're small scale farming, it's a real estate game. Every square foot has to earn its keep. And I've seen this pattern on the podcast. It's very clear. The highest earners aren't the ones with the most land. They're the ones that utilize the land that they have the best. Call it the best bed utilization. That's the percentage of growing space that's actually producing at any given time. And today I'm going to walk through 4 ways to increase what you can get out of the land that you already have. No expansion required, just more output from what you have. I'm Diego, Diego, here at Modern Grower, where we talk about building profitable farm businesses, not just farms. Let's get into it. Number 1, your beds are probably empty more than you think. Here's how this usually works. You harvest a crop, you clean the bed, maybe let it sit a few days, you're waiting to transplant, life happens, that bed ends up sitting for a week or 2. Each of those gaps can be a lost rotation, costing you money. Lost rotations are where money goes to disappear. Remember the formula from Jody Robuck? He's been on the podcast many times, and he talks about this metric of beds times rotations times revenue per harvest. For example, if you have 50 beds and you're averaging 3 rotations per year at $400 per bed, that's $60,000. Bump that up to 4 rotations on the same 50 beds, same $400, and you're at $80,000. So 50 beds, 3 rotations, $60K, 50 beds, 4 rotations, $80K, $20,000 more. Same land, 1 extra turn, 1 extra rotation or crop per bed. That's the gap between 3 and 4 rotations. It's not some massive change. It's eliminating these dead spots in between crops. A bed that sits empty for 10 days between crops adds up to a lot of time over the course of multiple seasons. Those 10-day gaps are where extra rotation either appears or disappears. The first step is knowing your number. How many rotations per bed are you actually getting right now? Number 2, your nursery can be your most underrated production tool. Well, what does that mean? In manufacturing, there's this concept called parallel processing. Instead of running every step in sequence, one after the other, you basically overlap steps so multiple stages happen at the same time. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, we do 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time. And that's exactly what transplanting can do for your farm. When you direct seed a crop, the clock starts on the day that the seed hits the bed. That bed is occupied from germination through harvest. But once you start seeds in the nursery and transplant them out, you're running 2 timelines at once. The seedling grows in the nursery 3 to 4 weeks, while the bed that they're eventually going to end up in is still in production with a previous crop. You just gained a month without adding a single square foot. Jody Robuck's talked about this as well on the podcast. He paper potted storage onions. They spent a month in the tray. During that month, he grew a 30-day crop in the bed where those onions would be going. Then he flipped the bed on the same day, transplanted the month-old onions, and kept going. That's the kind of move that doesn't show up on Instagram or maybe people don't talk about. It's not super photogenic, but it's the difference between 3 rotations on a bed and 4 or 5. Transplanting also has several other advantages. It gives you higher yields in many cases. It can allow you to more accurately control your crop density in a bed and give you the ability to select the strongest seedlings to go into the ground. Direct seeding definitely has its place, but if you're trying to maximize your turns per bed, transplanting is one way to compress that timeline. Number 3, how you harvest directly determines how fast you can replant. This one is simple, but many people miss it. If you're thin harvesting a bed of radishes, meaning picking through it over a week or two by pulling the biggest ones first, that bed is tied up the entire time. But if you crop out the entire bed in one pass, you can turn it over and replant it later that day or the next day. That one single change of harvesting to a schedule rather than harvesting progressively can compress your turnaround time from 10 to 14 days down to 1 or 2. Over a full season, that's not a small tweak. That's an entire extra rotation of a fast turnover crop. And it doesn't shift how you plan. You just need to know your sales volume well enough to batch harvest and move that product within a day or two. But that's a planning skill, not a growing skill, and it'll get easier every season when you have the data. Now, here's the second part of this: finding hidden space. Most beds run standard in-row spacing with walkways between every pair. But on fast crops like radishes, arugula, turnips, anything that's in and out of the ground in 30 to 45 days, you might not need walkways. You're not standing on those paths weeding. You're not accessing individual plants to deal with them like you would for tomatoes. You plant and you crop out. If you eliminate the walkway between 2 paired beds and plant there, you can fit extra rows where the walkway was. If you consider most standard market garden beds are 30 inches wide, pathways are 18 inches wide, you can pick up an extra 18 inches of planting space to use for production. That's anywhere between 30 and 50% more area to plant on, just depending on how you do your row spacing. That's no new land, no new infrastructure, just a smarter layout, smarter planning for your fastest crops. Number 4, the cheapest new land is the weeks you're not using. Most small farms have a very defined season. There's a start date and an end date dictated by frost, weather, tradition. But in between those dates on the calendar year, there are weeks and often months where those beds are sitting unused. And those weeks are where you can expand your farm. You don't need a lot of high-tech equipment. Low tunnels like quick hoops with poly or frost blanket can help extend your season by 30 days on either end. That's an extra 60 days of growing. For a fast crop, that's an entire extra rotation. 60 days isn't a nice to have at $400 per bed per harvest. It's the difference between 3 rotations and 4. That's real money on the same beds that you've already built. If you want to go into this further, the USDA's NRCS offers cost share assistance through EQIP to help farmers build high tunnels. They've helped build over 10,000 high tunnels since 2010. These grants aren't for huge operations. They're designated for small and mid-sized farms looking to extend their season and increase their revenue per acre. Perfect for small-scale farming. One farmer through the NRCS program in Indiana extended his season by a month and a half on each end. That's 3 extra months of production. Another in Oregon doubled her winter CSA membership after adding a single high tunnel. The infrastructure doesn't have to be expensive, but doing nothing with those idle weeks, that's where you spend money. That's expensive. None of these strategies are super hard or super complex, and I get maybe they aren't even super convenient, but if you are limited by your land base, you have to get creative if you want to make more money, and these are 4 ways you can do it without adding more land. The math. Let's do a business breakdown. Count your beds. Write down how many rotations each one actually produced last season. Not what you planned, what actually happened. Multiply that by what each harvest from those beds was worth. Now that's your baseline. Identify the three biggest gaps. Maybe that's the beds that sat empty the longest. And if you can close those gaps faster with more turnovers, transplanting, or season extension, you've just found an area to grow revenue, assuming you can sell what you grow. The move. This week, start seeds in a tray for a crop that's currently direct seeded. Time how many extra days you gain in that bed by having the transplant ready before the previous crop comes out. Run that experiment on a few beds, track the difference. This number tells you exactly how much production you're potentially leaving on the table, direct seeding versus transplanting. The mindset. More land is an input, more rotations is a system. Inputs cost money, systems like this, creative thinking, that creates money. So many people in the market gardening space are doing really well on much less land than you would ever expect. They do that by getting the most out of the land that they have. That's through tighter successions, transplanting, batch harvesting to speed turnovers, and season extension to try and capture weeks of production that everybody else leaves on the table. The land that you need, the land that you want, is often already what's right under your feet. You just have to use it all and maximize it all year round. Now, go build a farm business, not just a farm. I'm Diego, Diego. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be nice, be thankful, and do the work.